Hello everyone, Adam here, and this is the 5th tutorial on how to program in Python. In this video, we are going to be learning about loops. Loops are what we use to iterate over a sequence of events over and over again. Let me show you what I mean. Open up the Python shell, make a new window. Okay, so the first loop we are going to be learning about is a for loop. It's called a for loop because the keyword is for. So a for loop is used to iterate over over statements a certain number of times where we know the number of times it's going to iterate. So let's say for I in range 1, 5, colon, and enter and see how it tabs down right here. Okay, so how to understand this? So for means that it's going to be a loop, a for loop. And I is the variable that we're creating to use in this loop to store the value of the iteration. We'll talk about that later, just ignore it for now. Range, that's the range of how many times the loop is going to iterate, and then 1 is the start of the first part of the range, and 5 is the second, or is the end of the range. Let's say print hello world. Let's run that. Save it as loops.py. Oh, sorry. Okay, and then this is gonna run. Slow computer. Okay, so now it runs 4 times only, and that is not because we did it wrong, but because of a reason that I'm going to show you right now. So what this does is some loops, for loops, they execute from the first number up to the second number, but not including the second number. So that actually it only goes 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5. So if you want to do 5 times, you do 6. But what most programmers do is they do 0, 5. Start at 0, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and does it 5 times. But there's a way to get around that. You don't have to type in the 0, you just do 5. 5. There. And the computer puts in the 0 for you, so it still does it 5 times. Okay. So now I know everybody here likes stars, so let's say in range 100 print star. I'm just gonna call it a star right now because star is more fun than asterisk. And you see how it prints them. It gives them each one line of its own, and we can change that by putting a comma after the quotation mark. And we learned about that a couple of videos ago when we were working with variables and strings. And you put a comma to put a space, and that also joins lines together. So see how it puts them all right next to each other now. You can also nest loops. So let's say print for I in range 0 to 10, and then we can also say for j in range 10. and then a colon. And I and j and one letter variables are what programmers usually use for for loops because they're simple and easier to remember. Yeah. And then we'll say print a star. And then that does the same thing. So it's basically a simple multiplication. Every time that it runs through, it runs 1 time through here, it runs 10 times through here. So 1 times 10, then 2 times 10, 3 times 10, this runs through 10 times 10 times 10, so you still get 100 stars. You can nest loops like that. You can also do let's say if you wanted to do it 125 times, you could say for I in range 5, colon, for j in range 5, colon, and for k in range 5, colon, and then we could also print star like that. And it runs it 125 times because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay, let's talk about the other type of loop. It's called a while loop. A while loop is for iterating through a sequence of events where you don't know how many times you're going to iterate, but you do know that you want to execute those statements while a condition is true. Just like an if statement, except it does the if statement over and over and over again. So let's initialize a variable called number of times. We'll initialize that to 0. And then we'll say well, number of times is less than 100. Let's say less than or equal to 100 because we want it to go 100. Or no, wait, never mind. Yeah, less than 100 because we want to do it 100 times. And it's 0, so including 0, 0 to 99 is 100. Okay, so while number of times is less than 100, print hello, and a comma to put a space. And then you have to remember, for while loops, you have to remember to increment the value of the variable that you're using. So let's say number of times plus equals 1. So that the next time it runs through the loop, so it's 0, and then it runs through 1 time, since it's less than 100, prints hello, and then it gets incremented to 1, so now it's 1, it's still less than 100, and it'll go through until it's all the way up to 100, and then it'll stop, because 100 is not less than 100. And it does that 100 times, then it stops. What if we forgot to put this in? A lot of programmers do this, surprisingly a lot. And you see now that it's not stopping because the value of number of times is still 0, and 0 is never going to be never going to be more than 100. So let's stop that by pressing Control C on Windows. And you see here is keyboard interrupt, and that's how you stop a runaway loop. I don't know how to do it on Mac. I don't use Macs. I don't like Macs. Sorry for Mac users out there. I just don't like Macs. It's a personal thing. Okay. So, that